Welcome back to part 2 of Wendy Rae's Idol recap of the finale. We just finished talking about Carrie Underwood and how beautiful and talented she is. And so now what we're going to talk about is when Lee and Crystal were presented their Ford Focus from Chris Allen. And I'm going to have to tell you, I felt a little bad because there was really no excitement. I mean, Crystal and Lee walked in and it seemed like they were more excited to see Chris than they were to see their new cars. And I guess expected a Price is Right deal, you know, where they were jumping up and down and getting all excited, but none of that. It was just kind of like, wow, we got some cars. And I guess that's just their personality, but I really kind of wanted some more excitement out of them. And we got a little bit from Crystal when she went woo at the very end, but that was kind of it. Which led us into the Ford Focus videos, or the Ford videos that all the contestants did. They did a montage of all of them, which I thought was fun. It reminded me of some of my favorites of the season. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get to see Casey James dressed as a vampire because he was really hot in that, but oh well, I'll get over it because next up was hot Casey James, and he came out singing Poison's Every Rose Has Its Thorn. And I thought, no way. I mean, is he there? Is Bret Michaels there? I mean, you know, he's been so sick and in the hospital and, you know, fighting for his life, actually. The fact that he was there was unbelievable, and sure enough, he walks out on that stage and looks amazing, sounds great. It was awesome. I was so excited. I mean, I had goosebumps all over me. Now, understand, I'm a product of the 80s, and I loved Poison, and I totally dig Bret Michaels. I think he is just adorable and a great singer. And so that was really fun to watch. I enjoyed that so much, I can't even tell you. One of my favorite performances of the night was that performance. Not only was it a good performance, but seriously, ladies, some eye candy up there. I mean, Casey and Bret standing together on stage. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I'm just saying. The next performance was Lee, and this was my least favorite performance of the evening. And Lee did a performance with Chicago and did a bunch of their hits, which I get, you know, fun doing a Chicago, because he's from Chicago, singing with Chicago. And I actually like Chicago, but I didn't like this performance at all. Lee was just okay, and Chicago, well, okay, hold on. Let's talk about the good first. The instruments, amazing, played them beautifully, but the singer in Chicago, can't remember his name, what was that? I mean, there were parts that were painful. Like when he was singing that high part and you could actually see Lee was mouthing it and he was singing it. I mean, I swear my ears were bleeding. I mean, that was horrible. I mean, he would have never made it past even to the judges at American Idol. That was pitiful. And my least favorite of the night. But oh well, at least we got to see Chicago perform. I guess that's all I can say about that. Now was the next montage again for Simon, and this one was of his flirting. And I really liked the parts where they show him with Ellen. I think that's just funny. I find that comical. But my favorite part of that when he was touching his chest, I thought that was really very funny, and the sound effects that were going along with it were making me laugh. So that was pretty cute. We knew it was going to happen. I told you when we saw him in his audition city that it was going to happen. General Larry Platt joined the show doing his Pants on the Ground song. And it was really fun to watch. And boy, does he got some moves. I mean, he did great. I loved it. I'll tell you what I didn't like about it was the fact that they had William Hung come and sing with him. You know, this was Larry's time. Let's give it to Larry and let him have his time on American Idol and not have William Hung come in there and encroach on his performance. If they wanted William to be in the show, they should have had him doing his, you know, whatever that shebang thing that he did. I think he's funny, and I would have loved to have seen it, but I wanted Larry to have his time on the stage all alone. The dancers were pretty funny. My son said, they're going to end up with their pants down. I promise you, Mom, they're going to. And sure enough, my son was right, and that's how they ended the performance. Next up was another Simon tribute. Now, this Simon tribute was the big one. This is the one where the rumored Paula Abdul shows up, and she walks out onto the stage and looks absolutely stunning. I don't know if you saw Simon lean over to Kara and say, oh my gosh, she looks gorgeous. And she really did. And I'm going to have to say, I was proud of her. I mean, she carried on a conversation. She did her speech. She sounded really eloquent and didn't act crazy like she normally does. And so I was really proud of her. I thought she handled herself really well. After her speech, Kelly Clarkson comes out, followed by all of the past idols, with the exception of one, our David Cook. And he's my favorite. He's my favorite idol of all time, and I was sick that he wasn't there. So I looked up what happened, and actually he was in Kansas City doing a benefit for cancer. And you know how much he loves cancer, not loves cancer, but loves to do charities for cancer. I guess I should rephrase that. And so I guess we'll give him a pass for not being on American Idol last night, but I sure missed him. I wish that he would have been there because it was really neat to see all the past winners standing there together, and then to see the rest of the contestants that were able to be there come up on stage as well. Then Simon goes up on stage with all the contestants, and I got to tell you, I almost got weepy. You know, you could hear his voice cracking. I mean, he was really holding back the tears. I mean, guys, this is 10 years of his life, and that's got to be hard for anybody. But I have to say that it was fun to see Simon humbled. And had he cried, I don't know that I could have handled it. So I'm glad that he did what he did. I loved his speech. I liked everything about it, and I think he handled himself really well. And I was really, really proud of Simon. So then the big surprise of the night, not so much as, I mean, I thought Bret Michaels was a much bigger surprise since he'd been so sick, but it was Janet Jackson. The idols start to sing a Janet Jackson song, and sure enough, she walks out on stage and is, you know, tremendous. I wasn't a big fan of the hair. I like Janet with her long hair much better. That's just my opinion. But she still looked great, sounded great, and can dance, I mean, like she was, you know, 20 years old. So very, very impressive. Absolutely adored her performance, and so glad that she joined them on the idol stage. We're obviously finally getting close to the end because they show the video clip of Lee and Crystal's journey through American Idol, which was really fun to watch them progress all the way back from Chicago to last night, and I really enjoyed watching that. I thought it was fun. Then they do a song with Joe Cocker, and I'm going to tell you what, Lee and Crystal look like they were having a blast up there. I mean, it looked like they were having so much fun, and you know what? Joe Cocker sounded amazing, so I was pretty impressed with that performance. Now, of course, we have to have a break before we finally get the results, and it was driving me crazy. My son is, you know, driving, you know, just jumping around, acting like a fool, trying to hold my hand, hanging on me because he says he's so nervous, and I was like, oh, Lord, get over it. However, I was nervous inside. I just was putting on a show like I wasn't. And finally, they are all standing there on the stage, and in comes the guy with the envelope, and Ryan opens it, and as we're waiting to see them read the results, I love watching Crystal and Lee's reaction to each other. I thought it was just sweet and precious. Lee looked like he was going to vomit. I just wanted to give him a hug, and again, not because he's cute, just because I just felt for him. He just really looked like he was going to vomit. And when Ryan read that the winner was Lee DeWyze, I couldn't have been more happy. I was thrilled for him. And then when he just started crying, I mean, it was just precious. And then he sang his song, Beautiful Day, and I thought it was much better than the previous night, so good job with him on that. And I loved how he was motioning for the contestants to come over there with him. I thought that was really sweet and very much like Lee. You know, I think he's just a really good guy, and I was really proud of him. Like I told you yesterday, didn't matter to me. I didn't vote because I didn't know who I wanted to win because I loved them both. Now let's just talk about Crystal for 1 second. We have to be sad for the runner-up. And I'm mostly sad for Crystal because she brought it this week. I mean, her performances were unbelievable. I mean, somebody even commented and said, I hated Crystal, but I've downloaded this performance because I loved it so much. I mean, you got to give her some props for such an amazing performance and really a fight to the end. However, Crystal is going to be better not to be under the thumb of Idol. She'll be able to go off and do her own thing, and I think that that's going to benefit her more than had she won. And that's just my own opinion. Well, guess what? That's it for me. My last Idol recap for season 9. So until next season, this is Wendy Rae. Hugs and make it a great year. Bye-bye.